In this first look video from InfluenceWP, we are checking out a WordPress plugin called FlowMattic, which is going to streamline your WordPress workflows with zero coding. Before we poke around the website here a bit and then look at the actual solution together, just a quick bit of housekeeping. First look videos cover products we have no prior experience with. They show vendors how new users experience their website and product for the very first time. These videos are unedited, high-level introductions that are not paid for, they're not sponsored, and they contain no affiliate links. If you would like videos like this created for your business, go to influencewp.com/partners and request your free partner membership. And we thank FlowMattic for being a partner. If you like what you see in this video, go over to our website, find the deals area, do a search for FlowMattic, and grab that exclusive offer. Okay, so the website we are looking at today is FlowMattic.com. That's FlowMattic.com. And as I said earlier, this is going to be a high-level introduction, and I'm going to reiterate this is going to be a super high-level introduction because there is so much to this plugin. It's not to say that it's overly complicated or complicated at all. It's just there are so many pieces to it that we couldn't do it justice in a first look video. So we're going to stay very, very high level and not get into the weeds and save getting into the weeds for future videos, maybe tutorials for the various aspects of FlowMattic. Okay, as it shows here on my screen, transform your WordPress site into an intelligent automation hub with 352 plus integrations at the time of this recording, unlimited multi-step workflows, and groundbreaking MCP server technology. Connect, automate, and accelerate your business like never before. All right, so what we're going to look for here are the features, and I want to make sure we cover all of the features and say what's possible because we're not going to get to them all when we go and actually look at the solution. And then I want to look for some key pages like an about page, changelog documentation, some of those really key pages and information on a website. All right, let's just start right up here in the navigation area and see what we find. I see multiple areas to look for features, so we will just check these out, starting with core. So the top features listed here, I'm just going to rattle these off really quick. Unlimited workflows, unlimited task executions, visual no-code editor, powerful MCP server, human in the loop, which means you can pause workflows for human approval and intervention when needed. Multi-step workflows, powerful webhooks, custom trigger actions, unlimited AI assistance, email template builder, custom database tables, workflows task history, MCP tools task history, re-execution of workflows, schedule workflows, and variables. And then you see here 40 plus powerful core modules. We're not going to rattle all of these off, but you can see there is a lot going on here. WordPress, being one of those powerful core modules. And there's 37 of those just related specifically to WordPress. All right, let's go back up here and let's go into FlowMattic Connects. So this is seamless API connections at your fingertips, unlock infinite possibilities with FlowMattic Connect. Integrate any app or service with API authentication for a unified, powerful experience. So they say in 3 easy steps, connect your API. Okay, so step 1, you're going to choose new connect button, connect screen, assign a name, a connection. Then you see over here kind of like a screenshot of the possible connections that you can have. You're going to authenticate in step 2, and then step 3, you're going to fill up in the details and save the connect. Okay, when you're ready to connect your APIs, 4 authentication types, easy 3-step process, works with API modules, and so on and so forth. So that is the FlowMattic Connect. Again, this is super high level. I'm not doing this any justice. This is extremely powerful stuff from what I read before hitting record. If you are into this sort of thing already, or if you've done some research, this will make sense to you and you'll understand this is a very powerful thing that's being offered here. Let's go to features again and go to custom apps. Connect any app and build custom integrations. And if you can't find the integration that you need to create a workflow, they are allowing you to build a custom flow with any app with no coding skills required. Let's read this again. Create your own custom apps and connect any service with FlowMattic's powerful custom apps feature. No coding required. 352 plus pre-built apps, infinite custom apps, and no code. Build integrations for any service with a visual no-code builder, full API support, reusable across different workflows. So you're going to create an app, configure the authentication, define the triggers and actions, and then test and use. Everything you need to build custom integrations, multiple auth types, full REST API support, custom headers, dynamic parameters, response mapping, error handling, webhook triggers, polling triggers, built-in testing. What you can build, internal CRM integrations, and this is just a few examples, custom ERP systems, niche SaaS applications, regional services, legacy systems, and custom APIs. Lastly, under features, we're going to go to AI Chatbot. Intelligent support with AI-powered chatbot. And from my reading of this before hitting record, this is going to allow you to put a chatbot on the front end of your website that even hooks into your workflow. So imagine a customer, a user, or whatever, even yourself, can trigger an automation, a workflow from the front end of your website using a chat widget. So you get intelligent responses, fully customizable designs, seamless site integration, conversational memory, workflow automation, and 24/7 availability. So why would you want this? Reduce support time, train with your data, multiple deployment options, conversation history, unlimited AI assistance, secure file storage. It's suitable for a number of industries. Down here in the bottom right of their website, we see Chat with Us. I'm assuming this is built with their AI chatbot. But as you can see here, you can search for articles based on category or view all. I'm going to click Chat with Us here. But I'm not going to invoke this because I don't want to bother them. But I'm assuming this is built with their tool. But what you're seeing here is you can come in and review documentation. But imagine this being able to invoke a workflow, whether you know that you're invoking a workflow or not. Just having that ability is super, super cool. Okay, so that is all of the features at a super, super high level. Okay, let's go over to integrations. And again, there's 352 plus integrations at the time of this recording. You can see here, if you are a WordPress person, you're going to see some very familiar names in here right off the bat. We see, because we're starting with the letter A, you see active campaign, advanced custom fields. You see all of these categories in here. I'm assuming WooCommerce is in here. I haven't even looked, but I assume we can do a search. There we go. Let's go into WooCommerce. So you can set up WooCommerce AI-powered workflows. You've got your triggers, all the various triggers, and then you've got your actions. And I believe I read somewhere, I'm going to do a search. I think that subscriptions are even in here, for example. Yeah. Yeah, so you can actually tie into subscriptions as well. I'm not sure. Let's try this here again. Subscription. Yeah, here we go. So you can see WooCommerce subscription status updated or created. So they don't have a separate entry for just the WooCommerce subscriptions plugin, the official plugin, but it's kind of like intertwined in with WooCommerce, just as an example. So again, tons and tons and tons of integrations. But if you run into a situation where you don't have an integration, again, you can use their, what was that feature again? Custom apps to build what you need, those integrations that you need. MCP Platform, transform your WordPress site into an AI-powered MCP server. The most advanced MCP stands for Modeled Context Protocol Server for WordPress. Turn your website into a powerful AI resource with unlimited automation possibilities through direct database access, PHP execution, and API integrations. Okay. If you are familiar with MCP servers, then this is going to be very familiar to you. If you're not, it's a little more on the advanced side. AI is taking the world by, taking over the world basically. So MCP is mentioned a lot in the AI world. But with this, you're going to get MySQL database access, custom PHP functions, so you can run PHP functions using an MCP server, universal API integration, workflow execution, so trigger existing Flowmatic workflows with custom parameters. Just lots of super, super powerful stuff. It's WordPress native, customizable tools, again, with custom parameters, permissions, execution methods, real-time processing, choose your interface. It can work with Claude Desktop, VS Code, Cursor, OpenAI, and so on and so forth. AI-powered setup with smart suggestions for tool configuration and parameter settings, and so on. And then enterprise monitoring, built-in monitoring, logging, and analytics to track MCP tool usage, performance, and so on. Okay, connect with the AI clients you love, Claude, OpenAI, VS Code, Cursor, and the list goes on and on. Alrighty, let's go. I think that covers the features, the integrations, and the MCP platform. Let's go over and find some documentation. Let's check out the knowledge base. Let's check out the guides. Let's check out support. Let's check out the changelog. All right, so here we have the knowledge base. It looks to be good. Let's do a search for AI chatbot just for fun. Yeah, super documentation. Searchable. Let's go into one of these. We've got screenshots with annotation. Look, this looks to be amazing documentation. Yeah, all right. Happy with that. Here we have some guides. Let's just click into one of these. So we have like a video guide here. Yeah, very beautiful guides here. Okay, so I am confident that we're good with the guides. We're good with the knowledge base. And here we have the changelog, which I love to see dates along with the version number. So very, well done here. Well done. Great changelog. Let's go down in here into the footer and see what we can see. Can I find? Okay, so they actually have a link that actually says documentation. Let's go to that. Just different. Then they have the tutorials. Let's go to that in case it's different. Let's check out the roadmap while we're down here. They have status page, which is nice. Interactive guides, help center. Okay, I'm not seeing an about page, so that's something I would really love to see is an about page with faces and names, the people behind this product to establish that trust with potential customers and customers. Yeah, unless I'm just not seeing it. That's the only thing I'm really seeing that's missing. Everything else is really solid. Okay, yeah, so this is the knowledge base again. This is the YouTube channel for those guides. And then interactive requests here. So I think this is the roadmap maybe. Yeah, so this is the roadmap. So really nice. And then we've got the changelog. So we've got the integrated request, feature request. We've got the roadmap. They've got a community. Here's the roadmap. Wow, this is really amazing stuff. So they're highlighting all of the various integrations and stuff and features they have coming. Very nice. Okay, I'm going to leave this screen open, just the main page, their home page, in case we need to come back here. But again, I'm going to iterate one more time. Extremely high level. We're not getting into setting anything up. We're just going to run through the screens. And in the future, I will probably come back with some tutorials or maybe some more in-depth looks at the individual features. Okay, so on my test site here, I've got, what do I have going? I have FlowMattic installed, I have the license in place, have a couple of other plugins, WooCommerce and WooCommerce subscriptions, but I don't think we're even going to get into that stuff. I thought about before I hit record, maybe we'd run through some stuff, but there's just so much to this. I don't want to get into the weeds. I just want to stay super high level and make sure that I'm properly introducing our partner here, which is FlowMattic. All right. Let's go to FlowMattic and let's just go top to bottom here through the menus. We start here in the dashboard. So this is going to give you the ability right off the bat to create a new workflow, create a new table, a new AI assistant, and so on and so forth. So just like some quick start CTAs there. Here you've got all of your stats, whether it's your workflows, your tables, your AI assistants. And then you've got a recent workflows section, so you can see kind of what we've been working on recently. And then down here, we've got workflow templates. So you can click use template if you don't want to build a workflow from scratch. So they've got all kinds of really nice pre-built templates. We can do a search here for templates. Let's search for WooCommerce. There we go. So really nice. We've got some options there. Let's go over to workflows. And this is where we would create those workflows from scratch. We don't have any, so there's nothing to really search for, but it's nice to see that you can search. We do have an upload button here where we can upload workflows. So maybe you've got multiple websites. You like one of your workflows on one of your other sites. You want to bring it into this site. You can upload the JSON file there or import from a shared link. That is really nice. Once you do have workflows in place, you can sort them by the various statuses. You can order them. Let's go ahead and just click on new workflow. We're not going to get into the weeds, like I said, but I just want to see the interface. So we come over here and it's currently using a webhooks here. So I'm going to change the app just for fun to do just to see what's possible here. We can do WordPress, but you see all these available options over here on the right. It defaulted to webhook, but you can do plugin actions, MCP server, custom action RSS feed, and so on. We're just going to choose WordPress here, and then it's wanting us to choose an event. So we're going to go choose the event. I'm just going to say start with what's at the top here, new user. And then we're going to click configure, nothing to configure. Okay. So I'm going to click on this plus sign right here to say what happens after a new user is, oh, actually, yeah, there we go. There's the event, new user. So we come in here. This is trigger event. Okay. So we've already got the trigger event. Okay. And we've done all of this, test your trigger. So what it's currently doing is send data to your workflow. Okay. Conditions. Again, I've never used this before. I've used other automation tools a lot. It's just this one's got like a brand new interface. The trigger event is a new user. Okay, then what happens part 2? Okay, choose an event. Okay, so we've created a new user. Now what's going to happen? Maybe we just, this wouldn't be a thing, but we could say, what could we do? Just something ridiculous. New users added. Let's add a role to the user. Okay. So over here on the right-hand side, we're going to add a role to a user. We're going to configure that. Enter the user ID to add a user role. Variables. Can I do a search here for a user? Yeah, this is why I didn't want to get into the weeds in this video. So we're not going to go further. We're not going to get any further. Let's just do this because I don't want to take up everybody's time here just fiddling around with this. Let's go back to the dashboard. Let's go create, let's create a workflow from a template. So let's just come down here. I'm going to do a search for WordPress. Okay. Actually, let's do WooCommerce. And let's do create WooCommerce products. And I'll skip that one. Create an invoice. Don't want to do that one either. I'm trying to think here. What's the best way we can do this? Let's go back to WordPress. Let's just pick this one. Import workflow templates, WordPress to campaign monitor. Make sure you have installed. Yeah, see, you have to have this installed. All right. Sorry, guys. Let's go back to our workflows again. New workflow. And let's change the app. We're going to change it to, can I do WooCommerce from here? Maybe it's plugin actions. Yeah, struggling a bit here, but this is why we do these videos, right? Let's change the app. Let's go back to WordPress, choose an event, trigger event, new user. Okay, let's choose the next thing, which is the event. We got a new user. Let's change the user role, add a new user role. Configure user ID. Enter the user ID to add the new user role. We want that to be dynamic. First, you need to complete this step. Completing this step will allow you to use the data from WordPress. Okay, we'll try this out. Complete step. Okay. All right, I clicked on capture response to see if that can pull in what it is that we're trying to do. So we're just waiting for that to respond. So what I'm going to do, because it's looking to capture, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to add a new user. Okay, let's go back over to FlowMattic. We've got our one response that is recorded. All right, let's go ahead and continue here. We can set some conditions here if we want to. I'm just going to go ahead and save and close. Okay, so when a new user is created, we are going to add a role. Let's go to configure. And then again, this should be dynamic. So I'm going to expand new user here and see what we have. User ID, can I just punch that in there? Okay. User role, select the user role. I could say, maybe just for fun, we'll do author. Maybe we have to select it. There we go. WordPress user roles, let's do author, continue. We have options for conditions here. I'm just going to continue on just for the sake of time. So test your action, user ID is going to be dynamic, and then user role author. All right. Test action. Okay, and that looks good. User role successfully added to the user. Save and close. All right, and again, you can build out this workflow to do what? Way more than it's doing here. This is just a test. Okay, so let's check this out. Let's go to add user. And let's go test one. Oh, we'll call this actually author. Author. So by default, it's going to get this subscriber role. So we're going to see if once this is created, it actually gives us the author role as well, or if it just replaces that, or how that works. So add user. So our role is subscriber. I didn't publish the workflow. Okay, so see that on the top left. So that's not actually active. We saved it, but we didn't publish it. So now that it's published, let's try this again and see what happens. All right, add new user, and we'll do author again. There we go. So we have the author, and they came in now as subscriber and author. So it added multiple roles. Okay, so that's how a workflow would work. Again, I'm just going to keep reiterating, super, super high level here. We're just 1% of what's possible with this plugin. Let's run through a couple other things on the screen before we get out of here. Show workflow settings. If you click on this little cog icon, okay, it gives you some information there. Okay, let's go here. Show history. Okay, so we can see this is where our workflow, where it ran and it was successful. View the details. New user was created, add new user role. Okay, and then you can re-execute it if you need to. Okay, so I think we've covered that enough. That's workflows. Let's from the workflow screen here, we can easily toggle workflow on or off. I'll go ahead and toggle it off. We can assign folders, it looks like. Our applications that are involved, how many times it was executed, under the actions here, edit workflow, view history, clear history, export the workflow. So we saw that before. If you want to import it into another site, for example, or maybe just back it up for some reason, you can share the workflow, generate a link, share securely, import, and use. So you can set an expiration on the link. Super, super cool. So you click this generate share link here, copy it, link type temporary, when it expires. Very, very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Okay. That is that. And let's go ahead and go over to integrations. Here you can do a search for the various integrations. And again, they show 353 integrations currently in here. You can filter by all versus core, external, installed. if there's any that have updates available. Okay, let's just do a search for WordPress. There we go. Let's go into this. It's already enabled. That makes sense. How about Woo? And we can install that. So that was why before, when we were in the workflow and I was trying to find WooCommerce, it wasn't in there. I'm guessing that's why. So if we go back to our workflows, let's edit this workflow. There we go. So that's why. So then now you can choose WooCommerce, and then you have all of those events and whatnot available to you there. Okay, so that's integrations. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Let's go over to connect. So this is going to allow you to connect and manage your API authentications. So user comes in with a request, it hits your authorization server, secure API connection established, and then it gets into the API access on the other side. Okay, so as it says here, FlowMattic Connects is built to keep your API authentications centralized. You can use these connects in an API module or the app integration or custom app, no coding required. So you can connect to those other apps that you want to connect to and do all sorts of stuff there. APIs are extremely, extremely powerful. So we're not going to get into that, but just know that that's possible and how FlowMattic approaches it. Custom apps, we briefly talked about this earlier. If an integration isn't there, if a workflow isn't there, whatever the case may be, you can build a custom app using the Visual Builder API documentation that they provide and instant integration. Let's go ahead and click on First App, give it a name, a description, choose your authentication, give your app a logo. Then you come in here and you set up your triggers. Okay, then you set up your actions. All right. Again, completely custom. You're building your own integrations, your own workflows. All right. We're not going to get into that any further. Let's go ahead and move over to tables. Here you can create a table, and there's a nice legend up here at the top. Total tables, total rows, Flowmatic tables, system tables. You can sort, search. Let's go ahead and create our first table. You can give it a name, a description, the various table columns. Right now, it defaults to first name, last name, and email. And then the table database location, which is local. Let's go ahead and just click, put a name on here. We'll call it test. My description. Table columns will roll with the defaults, but it says here you can enter the columns separated by commas, e.g. first name. Okay, let's see if this actually does anything with this placeholder right there. Okay, you can manually add, once this is in place, you can manually add columns. Column key is used to identify the column in the database. The key cannot be changed. All right, we're not going to get into all this, but you see all of the column types that you can do: text, long text, rating, image, button, all that sort of thing. Add your column, add your rows, Excel, export to Excel, CSV export, and so on. So tables, let's go ahead real quick and let's do a learn more on that real quick. Let's do a search for tables. So I feel like I wasn't doing that enough justice. Let's try create tables. So this is more of setup. Let's go back to the main site here. Let's go features and figure out where it talks about tables. Custom database tables. I don't think that's it. I'm trying to figure out how to find this. I need more on the tables, more on the tables, more on the tables, where it talks about how-tos maybe. Here we go, features, tables. How to find records from Flowmatic's tables in multiple ways, how to embed a table on the front end. Okay, I think we're just going to go ahead and move on. Connect and manage your database tables and table data here. I'm not doing this any justice. Let's go ahead and edit that. Yeah, I'm not doing this one any justice, so I apologize. I wish I could find an article that just talks about the very high level what a table does, or as far as Flowmatic. I mean, obviously we know what a table does, but let's go back to our settings here. Flowmatic tables. Yeah, it really doesn't get into that very much and tell you what's going on. Maybe it's down here in the settings page, understanding the settings page, table. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on. So I apologize to Flowmatic for that part, and you, the viewers. Oh, here we go, right there. That's right there. There's a little help icon. What are Flowmatic tables? This is exactly what I was looking for. Flowmatic tables are a structured way to store, manage, and organize data within the Flowmatic platform. They function as customizable data tables where you can add, edit, or delete records based on your workflow needs. These tables can be used to store workflow data, organize custom data, reference and automations, and so on. Okay, here we go. All right. So hopefully that makes more sense, but just know that they have plenty of information for you to figure out how and why to use those tables. Email templates. This is pretty self-explanatory. If you are doing automations and whatnot that is going to send an email as part of that automation, this is where you can build the email templates. So define what content is within them, what they look like, that sort of thing. Let's just pull in this weekly newsletter. So they've got all these templates available. Let's call this test template. We're going to use the weekly newsletter template. So we've got a beautiful template here that we can just come in and edit. They've got a nice editor over here. Yeah, super, super nice. And then over here on the right-hand side, we've got a general tab, give it a name, email subject, email pre-header. We can style it up with our branding. Okay, we've got all kinds of options here, additional branding, additional styling, font families, the button styling. And then over here we have data. So dynamic data. We're not going to get into all that. Just know you can get into all of that. Right here, we've got a responsive control. So if we want to see what this is going to look like on a mobile device, we can do that. So this looks to be very easy to use if you're familiar with the WordPress block editor. This looks like it's going to be very similar to that, slightly different, but very similar. Here we have the option to download or even import, it looks like. Yep, download, import. So it's all working with JSON files. That's how the imports and exports are coming in. You can send a test email. There's a nice documentation link here. You can watch a video. Very, very cool. All right, let's go back to our settings. So that's email templates, and you can build one completely from scratch. I think you saw that. AI assistant. So this is that front end assistant that we talked about at the very beginning of the video. Whether you want to use it for yourself or for like your users or your customers or potential customers, they can do research, like look through your documentation on the front end using AI. They can kick off workflows that you set up. So extremely, extremely powerful stuff. We'll just click into one of these. We're going to give it a name, test, OpenAI Connect. So I don't have this connected yet, so we're not going to be able to see this. Yeah, it's not going to work. So with the AI, that is done in the integrations. So you're going to come over to integrations. You're going to do a search for OpenAI, install it. You're going to have to put in your own OpenAI API key, and then come back over here in the API, the AI assistant. Sorry, and then when you create this assistant, you're going to connect to your Open API that you install. Okay, and then you can configure that assistant however it is that you want, and add it to the front end of your site. We will skip that for now because I don't have that OpenAI key set up and ready to go. Here we have variables, create and manage custom variables that can be used to store and manipulate data within your workflows. Okay, we won't get into this, but just know it's possible to get deep into the weeds with variables. MCP Server, we're not going to get into this either, but just know that you can set up a FlowMattic MCP server or servers to create tools. So click Add Tool, give it a name, give it an execution method, PHP function, workflow, API endpoint, database query, give it a description, start putting in your parameters, and create those tools with the FlowMattic MCP server. Yep. All right. I think that's good for that. Here's your history of all your tasks. We looked at this earlier when we ran that workflow. We created that user. We assigned them the author role. So that's showing that history there. Let's go to settings. So here we have some database management. We can connect to a database. It's currently connected to a local site database. We can edit this. We can fetch existing tables from connected databases for editing. So here we can click Connect Database and choose whatever database we want to connect to. We have general settings, admin bar menu, headers capture, workflow builder settings. Do you want to use a visual builder or a static builder? Default folder, all workflows or default. SMTP configuration. So if you're doing something that involves sending out email, like those email templates, for example, as part of those workflows, then you could set up SMTP here to make sure those emails are sent and received. Here you have your notifications settings, failed task notifications, authentication expiration notifications, and so on. Advanced settings, how long do you want to keep the task history before it cleans up after itself? What else? Here we go. Webhook. Okay, so you have some advanced settings there. We'll skip over those right now. Integration management. Enable or disable core integrations. So it's the core integrations to customize your workflow and editor. Default is enabled. Default enabled, turn on only if you want to disable. Okay, that's interesting. So it's actually enable or disable core integrations to customize. Default is enabled. Is that right? Default turn on only if you want to disable. Okay, so that's a bit backwards to me. So this is what I would think it would look like if it was on, and then you would, which is enabled by default, as it says right here. Turn on only if you want. So I would think you would come in here and turn off if you want to turn it off. And I also think, maybe I'm misunderstanding, but I would think that all of this would be off by default. But this says default enabled. So I'm a little confused on that part. I like to see things turned off and then you go and you turn them on when you need them. And it kind of looks like that's what's happening here, because to me, that again, that looks on. This looks off. So if you're watching this video, happen to stick through this video this long, Flowmatic, I'd love to know that. Over here under status, we can see all systems are operational. They look at the WordPress configuration, the PHP configuration, the file handling, extensions, and security, and we are all green, as it says. And then we have the license. Okay, guys, that was a lot. Again, Flowmatic, streamline your WordPress workflows with zero coding. It's not complex. It's just there's so much to it that that we had to stay high level for this video. We would be here for hours going through all of this stuff. Some of it is advanced. The MCP stuff, the API stuff can be advanced. Getting into webhooks just depends on your skill level, but extremely powerful, obviously. And I'm really excited to dive in further, possibly do some tutorial videos, or maybe just some first looks or extended looks at certain features, kind of, because you could do individual videos on all of this stuff. There's just so much going on. So anyway, I thank Flowmatic for being a partner. And if you like what you've seen in this video, you see how awesome this is, in my opinion, go over to InfluenceWP.com/deals and grab the exclusive deal for Flowmatic. All right, I will see you all in the next video.